That was quick.
Well, yes. Beautiful. Oh, we are here with our lovely peeps. The peeps are here. Oh, well, welcome, GP. Thank you so much for showing up here with me on a Tuesday.
I wouldn't be any other place but here. Yeah.
And everybody joining in, you're here on The Flow, and it's coming to you from Homeschool Live. And today, oh gosh, there's so many fun titles we've chosen for today that I want to say them all. And they literally, I'm pretty sure, GP, that this topic runs a lot of people's lives, whether it's because they are avoiding them or they are embracing them and maybe a little too much. It's all about goals, and it's when
or
goals
afraid of them.
Or afraid of them. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, well, let's actually, you guys are going to find out where you sit in the field on the goalpost here. But
on the spectrum.
Yeah, and it really is the absurdity of goals, when goals go bad. And why do we have them? Do we need them? Do they cause harm in our lives? Can we take them too far? And most importantly, who the beep is moving the goalpost? Oh, now I'm just going to see, put into the comments so I can see lovely people coming in and not. For some reason, I think it's on my end. I am not seeing things. I'm not
seeing any comments, actually, which is unusual.
It's very unusual. Maybe we should just have a quick little peek on our other devices to see if other people, if we're where we.
Yes, good idea. See if people are actually commenting, and we not getting it.
Yeah, we're definitely. Did you go live on YouTube? Oh, Susan's here. Suzanne.
Oh, okay. Here's Susan. Susan, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Susan. That's very helpful. But that's on Facebook. I'm wondering if your YouTube people are here.
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
All right. We're just going to check in with this.
We're going to check in on this. My channel, quickly.
Yeah.
Flow.
I'll chat with Susan while we're here. Susan, this is a very interesting topic for everybody watching.
We're live, but I'm not seeing any chats there either.
Wow. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
It's Tuesday after a long weekend. Perhaps people are a little bit rough today.
Yeah, and they might be a little bit, could be. I am, although I didn't do anything.
Oh, that's right. And Anne is here. Thank you, Anne. Anne's on YouTube, so we are successful. All right. And David. Oh, good. Okay. We're getting a lot of confirmation here. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, folks, for bailing us out.
Yeah. We can't flow without people.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, goodness. Well, so this is an interesting topic, and the reason why I think it's a very important one to bring to inquire about with ourselves is that when it comes to goals, on my own and GP, I love to share this with, and even share this with people, is that a lot of people are goal setters, and they want to get other people to set goals, and they're very supportive and helpful. And how can I help you reach your goals? And I've always been one to shy away from goals. And not that I don't have self-confidence that I can achieve something or do something, but I always felt that they didn't have a good foundation. Because what if I don't reach it? Am I a failure? Am I bad? What if I went beyond the goal? Am I, ooh, look at me, I'm awesome? So I felt it was really ego-based, and not that other people can't, but I guess the first question I'd love to ask you, GP, is it a cultural thing that we are so goal-based, or is it the whole world? As humans, are we goal-based oriented?
Yes, especially in the West. Having spent a lot of time in South America, very different. Very different. They have goals, but they reach for things, but they're far more in this present moment. The goals are more organic. I guess that's the best way to put it. Whereas the West, they really are imposed from the outside, and even formalized, right? There's SMART goals, and there's different systems for goal setting. You need to write it down. You need to look at it for 15 minutes every day, and it can become very regimented, almost religious, right? And the more regimented it gets, the more opportunity there is for failure, and the more opportunity there is for guilt, right? Yeah. Because, it didn't work because I wasn't 100% in integrity with it. right?
Mhm.
And I let myself off the hook one day, and I would put in 10 minutes instead of 15. So now I'm suffering the consequences of it. And like everything that is kind of evolved in Western culture, which is not a factor of the East, Latin culture or the East, um, uh, is um, is just this drive to attain something. Right.
Mm.
My number one issue with it is something that does two things. Number one, focuses your attention outside and focuses it on the future.
Yeah. Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all do that, right? They all inevitably do that. And the weight is this, that the thing you're going to attain out there in the future, that everything now that you do, and they even say this, so everything you do now is about fulfilling that, right? All of your energy is being channeled into that, and the more energy you get into that, the more it's going to happen, which makes right now nothing more than a stepping stone to that, right?
Yes.
And when you do that, it becomes impossible to feel happy or content in this moment.
Yeah.
You can't cherish this moment when your attention's always in the future, and that to me is the big problem with it. That's the real cost of it. And as you
Mm.
pointed out earlier, there's, for many people, it's not a system that actually works. It doesn't fit with your own makeup, your own biorhythms, right? Not everybody can do that. And we all have to make plans about stuff, right?
Yes.
You have to buy a plane ticket in advance. So you're obviously going to go somewhere, right? You got to, get a hotel and do, whatever you're going to do.
Yeah.
So it's not like that. It's that energy of goal setting becomes. I've never seen it not become oppressive. I've just never, I mean, it reaches its most ridiculous form in New Year's resolutions, which is
Yes.
goal setting, right?
I love the way you said that. It reaches its most ridiculous form. But
Well, it's true, right? I mean, what is it? It's like 12 days. That's the average
yeah,
that
3
somebody
weeks
can
is
keep to.
max.
Yeah, and it's gone, right? I mean, the gyms love it because if it wasn't for New Year's resolution, they wouldn't have any members, right? And if all the members actually showed up, there wouldn't be enough room in the gym. So it's great for gyms. Yeah, I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to lose that 20 pounds. Yeah. Mhm.
I want to recap that. The cost of goals is actually the present moment. You lose, you give up, you pay with the present moment to have that
Yes.
goal and to live by that goal and to measure the goal and check in with the goal and have support groups around the goal. And this is, I
Yes.
remember I was I almost remember. Hold on. I think it was Brian Tracy, but I could be wrong. I was at one of these, self-help speakers event, and my friend was beside me, and they were just so
They're all
proud.
alike anyway, so it doesn't. You can interchange the names.
Well, that's true, right? And they were so proud. They were writing their goals, and I was really struggling with goals. And so I was like, well, I had to write something down. So I wrote down things like, I'm going to eat well and exercise and be happy and everything. And they looked at my goals and they laughed at me and they said, well, you already do that. I said, yeah, but I'm going to continue doing it and I'm going to do it even better. And they said,
Yes,
that's not a goal. I went, yes, it is. I can make up whatever goal. And we actually got
It
into
is.
a fight. And then they said I was afraid of goals and
All
we
right.
want to set my bar high. And it really changed the way it didn't bother me, by the way. I continued because I like that you said that there's
Yes.
a difference between goals and plans.
Yes.
A plan feels more present moment. It's
Yeah. Okay. Well, something's come up. I'm going to do it. Right.
yeah.
And I have to make some plans in order to do it. But if it becomes self-defining, right? My life revolves around it. I'm not present anymore. Right. The goal
Yes.
even loses its luster. Right. After
Mhm.
it becomes about the achieving of the goal and not the goal itself, and you completely forget why you're doing it. Just as a little aside, it's a fun little thing to note. I was one of the many places I stayed in my wandering, which I'm about to start again. There was another fellow that was staying there, a really nice young man, and he was listening to motivational speakers, right? And he was playing them. You could hear it, so you could hear him. So I was listening to him, and he had a mix an motivational speaker mix. So right, there'd be like a clip from like 10 or 12 of them speaking about the same subject, right?
Yes.
And as I sat there listening, it was like I could tell they were different. They were different people, and I recognized some of the voices, right? Because they were different voices. The message was the same. The inflections was the same. The words were the same. The energy was the same. It was absolutely cookie cutter. And I went, wow. And some of these guys are multimillionaires, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of driving everybody to this fever pitch. You can do it, and all of that. It's really quite a show. But that was just kind of an aside. That it takes that kind of cheering on,
Yes.
right, to when the goal doesn't mean anything to you anymore.
And I like that you said about it's externally influenced. Now, everybody here, so I'd love some feedback because this is fun. If you really do have a goal, and that's what you wake up in the morning for, and it's actually supporting you or helping you. You think, right? And this is where I want to turn it over to GP about why self-inquiry really helps, because it's not that we don't want people to not have like things that they'd like to achieve or it'd be nice to achieve or that experience, but when somebody else has, if we don't know why we have the goal, or we just kind of we're told it, or we think we're really in line with it. I want to lose the weight. I want to travel here. I want to achieve this amount of money and success. GP, what if we really are waking up to that being our motivation, and that's the only thing keeping us alive?
That has nothing to do with goals. That's life.
Oh,
It has nothing to do with goals. Right? The desires that arise within us are as natural to us as breathing. Right? You can't be a human being without having a desire, right? And of course, if you've put on some extra weight, there's going to be some desire to lose that weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do have a goals process. It's called cherish your desire and let it go.
Aw, do you really? That's
the sum total of it. I mean, I just thought of it now, of calling it a goal system, but I'm going to patent it now, and we're, the next course, $9.97.
I love that. Cherish your desire and let them go.
Cherish your desire and let it go. Yeah, because if you can let it go, you can stay in the present moment. But the moment you're holding on to it, you're living in the future, and when you're living in the future, you're living in lack of it. You're experiencing the lack of it, right? Yes. And it's not false what the law of attraction teaches about being present with it as if it was present, right? But even that always has people in the future that, I'm going to be in the present so I can get what I want in the future. I mean, it really does miss the boat as to a lot of the release things and all of that. So it becomes a much more organic, a much more internal thing. What really happens is that the whole goal setting thing is a way of avoiding the inner conflict you have between your desire and the safety mechanism that says it's not safe to attain it. That's always the case.
Oh.
Because obviously the goal represents some kind of a desire, right? There's a desire for something in your life, which is perfectly natural, right? Yes. We want to improve, grow, expand, right? I mean, that's as human as you get, right? We want more creative expression in life. That arises in us. We have that feeling. And immediately, oftentimes without even spending any time with the desire, we immediately set a goal. We imagine what we think the fulfillment of the desire would be, then we set a goal to get it, and then we work out all the steps for getting it. And at that point, the moment you decide what it will be that satisfies the desire, you're not paying any more attention to the desire. All the attention is on what you think is going to satisfy it. And all of that energy heading outward. And of course, internally, every desire that arises is going to run into some kind of resistance from the nervous system, because the safety mechanism is always lobbying on the behalf of staying the same. It does not want change. Now, it's not because it hates you or, it wants your life to be miserable. It's just going, look, you may not like it here, but it's safe. I've done my job. Stay here. I can keep you safe, guaranteed. Stay in the closet and you'll be safe. right? But I don't want to be in the closet. I know, but stay in the closet. This is how it works. And then somebody's sitting in the closet and thinking somehow they're going to be able to set a goal and get out of the closet while the guard is standing there on duty 24/7. It's not going to happen.
Oh,
You have to come to terms with the energy that's saying no. Once you do that, you're completely in this present moment. And the very inner resistance that was keeping it from happening switches sides and becomes the energy by which it does happen.
yes.
And notice this is totally organic. It's totally internal. The desire is there. And I will oftentimes, when I'm working with people, back them up from the thing that they want into the place where, well, what is it, the experience you're actually wanting that you think this thing is going to bring you? And it keeps bringing you back to your own feelings and the sense of what's missing in my life. And this becomes very intimate then. At that point, you can just really begin to realize that it's not really anything out there that I want, right? It's the feeling of wholeness. It's the feeling of being content. It's the feeling of being at home. It's the feeling of being loved. And somehow I think these things are going to give it to me. And the whole paradox here is that when you discover that and the attention starts going towards the energy that really will satisfy that desire, and you have reconciled with the energy of the resistance to it that allows change to take place, that desire begins to manifest itself in the most appropriate way. It will tell you what the goal is, right? But it's not a goal anymore, right? And because there's this relationship between you and the desire now that's totally harmonious, right? There's not going to be a struggle with it. You can let it go, right? Ultimately, you come to the equanimity that says, I didn't create this desire. It just arose in me. So it's not up to me whether it happens or not. It has its own destiny, its own life. Like every cell in the body has its own life cycle, right? And none of them are as long as mine. Right? Some last, less than 24 hours, So, you have a whole new pancreas every three days. Every cell in there is turning over constantly. That's the entire life cycle. You don't want to get involved with that. You don't want that thing setting a goal to hang around longer, right?
Right.
And a desire. Our desires are simply these cells of existence on an energetic level that really define one of the key differences in a human being. When the desire hooks up with a vision, there's a really beautiful energy there, but it's not up to you. You can let the desire go. If you can let it go, you're in the present moment. And all of the energy that is needed to make that come to pass will not be forced into another channel and therefore restricted, and it will not be hindered, right? And your only job is to make sure that the nervous system, the safety mechanism, remains in support of it. And if something new comes up and it says, can't do that, right? You have to be with that and find out. Most people go, oh no, and they start fighting the resistance, right? Which is really a total waste of time. I mean, it's a 500 million year old system. Believe me, you're not going to beat
it. I need to actually go back and read everything that you just said. It was so amazing. And it touched on, I think all of my questions, from visualization to all these things. But I'm going to take this into a real life situation. The most beautiful thing I just thought was was the desire itself will manifest itself, because when we come to terms with the energy that is saying no. I'm going to say this, and if she listens, she listens. One of my best friends, she smokes so much, and she's not well. And it's not that she wants to quit smoking, because to be honest, she doesn't, but she wants her health. And so the goal isn't to stop smoking. The goal is to be healthy. And so there's this struggle, the conflict, because it is an addiction and it's linked with so many of these things. But I love what you said there, because it's really the desire of being healthy will manifest itself when we feel safe.
Yes.
Safe.
Yes. And in that connection of safety, you find the fullness, that reconnection, the absence of which is the cause of all addictions. The addiction is a temporary sedative. It's a temporary way
Yes.
of making yourself feel again. You know what they say, the heroin addict says about taking a hit of heroin? He says it's like getting a warm hug, right? And heroin addicts are all tremendously traumatized people that had horrible childhoods. They were not taken care of. They don't know what love is. And so they take this hit of this drug that fills them with the feeling that they should have gotten as children. And that's why it's so addictive. And you want to go back to it. It's a solution. All addictions are a solution, right? The problem is that the solution, I mean, you're scratching your nose and your butt itches,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's the problem with it. So in a case like that, you can see that there's a total conflict between it. There's the need to not experience the discomfort of being with myself, which is what smoking does, which is what Facebook does, which is what heroin does. It's what shopping does. Gabor Mate said he spent all his money on shopping. He'd shop for classical music. That was his addiction. He said, one day I spent $8,000 on CDs, most of which I never listened to.
Wow.
And matter of fact, he even left work, right? He was delivering a baby. He left work. He got paid while he was at the record store because the baby was delivering, and he ignored it. Somebody else had to deliver the baby. I mean, he confessed this, right?
Yes.
He says, so it's like, oh, classical music, no big deal. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anything that doesn't meet that need. And no goal in the world is going to have enough weight to be able to transmute and transform that. That has to happen here.
Yeah. And that's, I will get into visualization because that's going to be helpful. But I wanted to see, there's a question. I love this question that came. How do I come? So I had to go over to the questions. How do I come to terms with the present resistance, especially if they're negatively manifesting? Okay, that's two really interesting ones. And how to remove the blockages in order to move forward when we're stuck. So moving forward, like as in the goalpost, it keeps moving. It's moving like we got to get there.
Right.
Did I miss the front of that first though? Unless I need to go back. Oh, and then I have to go to Mark's. Hold on. I like this question though, because coming to terms to it, do we actually come to, so we have a goal. We set this goal. We think that's the way to go, but we're not meeting it. We're continuously failing it, not achieving it. We think we're failure, but we have resistance with it. And it's, now I might not understand as much. You might get this though, GP, especially if they are negatively manifesting.
Well, yeah, and that's again a big misunderstanding, self-sabotage, or I'm getting exactly the opposite of what I want, and that sort of thing. And of course we blame ourselves because we think we're in control. Right? Yes. The ego thinks that it's control, and it's going to have more control when it sets these goals, right? And everybody tells it, yes, this is going to do it for you. Just follow this. And of course, when it fails, nobody questions the system. Nobody says the goal process failed. You failed. It's always you. You're always the fuck up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And resistance is absolutely natural. Anytime you're going to want to make a change in your life, there will be resistance. And as I said before, the safety mechanism is not interested in improving life. It's only interested in keeping safe. You have to recognize that. There's this energy inside of you that is not the least bit interested in having fun. It doesn't care about growing or expanding or self-expression or intimacy. It does not care in the least. Are you safe? Yes? Good. Change nothing. And so it will always resist change. Now, I get a desire for something and I start going after it. The resistance comes up, as it inevitably will. And what do? We start fighting with the resistance. Right? Push it down. It's getting in the way. It's negative, and it will negatively manifest. It can do that. Remember, your energy system, in our minds, you think this body is operating by itself independent of the environment. The reality is this body is connected to absolutely everything else in the universe, right? It can make a computer break. It can do anything. It can make the guy just not show up for an appointment, right? It can make you not hear the phone when it rings, right? These are all the ways it does to maintain that. It's got all the tricks in the book. There's no way in the world you can beat it. And the more you start pushing on it, the more it digs in its heels, because it's trying to protect you, and you're being an insolent brat. And now it says, oh God, I got to protect him from him. Right? And it'll just get worse. And you may get a little breakthrough, but it won't last. Right. Or you get exactly the opposite of what you're looking for. There's no way around this except to come to terms, to understand the nature of the inner world in which you're operating, and how to reconcile between these two absolutely powerful energies: the safety mechanism and the desire for growth. The desire for growth is uniquely human. Right? The safety mechanism we share with every living thing that has ever been.
Yes.
Everything is about perpetuating itself, right?
Yes.
So this is how you say, okay, great. I've got to find a way so that this powerful energy of the nervous safety mechanism, which can literally put a stop to anything, as my life is living proof of. I've seen all the places where I've just stuck, broke, done, right? Just can't get any further. How do I reconcile? How do I bring that to a point where it recognizes that it is safe to move forward, right? Now, it would rather not move forward at all, of course. But at the same time, you have this desire, right? Which is also a human and equal, almost as powerful. Yes. Matter of fact, without that, we wouldn't be human. We just be any other critter. This is our humanness, that we want to grow and expand and all that sort of stuff. So what has to happen is the two of these have to come together, and there's only one way to do that. You can't take sides. You have to step out of. You have to let go of the desire. So, because if I take the side of the desire, I'm going to squash this. I'm going to try to squash it, and I can't. Right? And then what I'll do is I'll just concede. Eventually, I'll just give up because it's just too much work, right? Or I get too frustrated. I just kind of give up because it's never going to happen, right? The safety mechanism is good with that, and the more you don't even entertain desire, the better it likes it, right? And at that point, you're now the agency of that. And we have all sorts of thoughts. God didn't want it for me. He shuts one door, he opens another. It's not right. We have a million sour grapes turns. So what happens? What happens though if you step into this position where both sides are honored? The flow can begin to occur, right? And when the flow begins to occur, there's the opportunity to begin to move. And move towards this thing that you want. But if you move towards it in an attempt to squash the resisting voice, you'll lose. But if you move, there's resistance. You stop. Okay, what are you protecting me from? What do we need to do here? Is there something I'm not seeing? And then invite it. Take a look. Is it okay? Because really, think about it. Bring to mind anything you want but don't have. Right? Things that are like really make a difference in your life. Why would there be inside of you any energy that would resist it? It's obviously better. It's beneficial for you, for everybody else, for your family. It doesn't hurt anybody, right? Why would there be resistance? Right? We don't stop to ask that question, right? How can we be of two minds of this, right? Well, this is where you have to come to understand what's actually happening within you.
You're bringing up such a very primal memory, and it explains my very primal memory of when I was little, and I would be sleeping and I'd have a nightmare, and I would pull the blankets over my head, but then I couldn't really breathe that well, and your own air is in there, and you're getting hot, and now you're little and you're panicking because you can't breathe, and do you put your little nose out or no because the monsters are out there, right? And eventually I remember the desire, it's a need and a desire. I would be so thirsty, right? But I have to pee or whatever. And I think, okay, I need to go. I have to that's the desire, the water, the toilet, the something, the air. But I was like, no, I don't need to. I'm going to hold it, and I'm not thirsty, and I don't need to breathe. right? And then eventually like, okay, wait, I can't pick a side here. I need to be safe because I'm frightened, but I need to do it. And
Yes.
and when you're a little kid, it's just exactly like when we grow into adults and we have this desire. We want to make more money, but we're really comfortable in our position. What if we don't get the job? What if we go after the relationship and it doesn't work? So this is, it's, I like the way you're describing this, that we have to honor both. You got to pee and you want to stay safe, right? So
Exactly. Yeah. And when it's in harmony, it works perfectly. Your nervous system knows how to do this.
right.
Right. I mean, look at any animal in the wild. They have to go out and eat. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I'm prey, right, my nervous system is constantly monitoring the environment for danger. I used to sit and watch these big mule deers when I was in the mountains in New Mexico. You know, they're deer with these huge ears, right?
Oh.
And they'll be sitting there feeding on plants, taking a drink of water, and the ears are doing this constantly.
Yes.
Constantly. And then the tiniest little sound, right? It was like, it's okay. And then back to what they were doing. They had the perfect flow between the mechanism that knows how to keep you safe and the desire, right? Which is the basic need. Now with human beings, that desire goes way beyond just our bodily needs. It goes to soul fulfillment and self-actualization and that sort of thing. But we've gotten so frayed, so disconnected that these guys come at odds, and without understanding it, we try to make process like goal processes to try to force it to happen and think there's something wrong with me because it can't. It's really a simple misunderstanding, right? It has nothing to do about whether you pursue it or not. As a matter of fact, you can't not pursue it because it's a desire. That's the nature of desire. It's not going to sit there and leave you alone, right? It's as much as a part of you as the safety mechanism. So the desire didn't come from you. It's inherent in you. You know, it's like growing hair. You're not going to stop it, right?
Yes.
And the whole point of a desire is to fulfill itself, right?
Yes.
Now, if I take personal egoic responsibility for the fulfillment of that desire, I've got the limited resources of my little ego trying to make this happen, right? Which is why we fail, because we're relying on the limited resources of this little thing, which is just an imaginary creation of your nervous system. But if instead I see that this desire is actually a creation of life itself, and that the nervous system's job is to protect it to fulfillment, not get rid of it, right? But like a parent with a child, their job is to protect the child to fulfillment, right?
Yes. Can you ask the question, is fulfilling this desire safe, no matter, and this is to Bernadette, whether somebody else externally you have compassion for others, you did it doesn't matter. It's really is fulfilling this desire safe?
And you cannot answer that with your mind, because
your system will tell you. Your nervous system will tell you if you're not
achieving
achieving
really
it.
will ask. Yeah. Well, it's already told you. If you haven't achieved it, it's the answer has been no, it's not.
That's like a big
That's
aha.
it. That is the only reason why you haven't attained your goals. The nervous system said it's not safe. So what do? Fight with it or say, okay, how isn't it safe? Share this with me. It may be right.
Yes.
How many times have I wanted to get something and it's completely gone south on me? Right?
Yes.
Everybody's had that experience, or the disappointment that this is it. All of that work for the boy, it's a common thing. Your nervous system is extremely intelligent. It knows what it's doing, but it's stuck in a certain position. It has certain points of view. But even that question is, okay, what are you protecting me from? Now engages it in dialogue with respect. You're not telling it you're stupid. Why are you doing this to me? Leave me alone. Stop sabotaging me. Totally antagonistic. But instead, wow, you may have a good reason for this. Why don't you tell me? And the way I work with it is that I just simply have people hold the desire and the resistance at the same time. If you do that long enough, and invite the energy system to say, is it really safe? We've assumed it to be dangerous, but I used to get beaten by the nun, but she's not here anymore. You know,
Right.
she's not gonna tell me my desire is sinful anymore. So look around, check the environment now. Is it still unsafe? And if it is, tell me. I'm good. What's the point of trying to get a desire and dying, right? I'm
Yes.
totally okay. I'm totally okay with that. It's up to you. Now, feel the space of that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. My world has been rocked again in abuse. And also it's actually, my life has changed. I got to share this with all the viewers here is, I met GP about a year ago now, and it was just going to be something fun. We're doing shows. I was not expecting self-inquiry to change my life. And, and I would like to share this right now, that now I can see in a year that why I have been, and it's not to tell everybody, oh, do self-inquiry and you'll achieve your goals. But I have seen changes in my life that I wasn't quite achieving or getting, or maybe stopping to do something or starting to do something before. Now I can see that it wasn't safe for me to either stop or start because I didn't know who I was. And as I've been doing this self-inquiry and inner reconciliation, I now am looking like, well, now I'm having explanation of why I was able to. Now, it wasn't that I just tried harder or I made a better decision or it was
Right.
time and it all aligned, It was because I inquired, is this really safe for me or is this really dangerous for me? And then thank you for keeping me safe, and thank you, but it's no longer needed. Let's move forward. And so I have to just put a little plug in there for the inner reconciliation course.
Well, that was my discovery as well, in exactly the same way when I ran up against a wall and I couldn't get past it. And this is when the whole thing started to become clear to me in a very dramatic way. It's in the book that's going to be coming out soon. How that works. But Amir put a question up here I wanted to grab really
Yes.
quick. He said, is there a
Are you
place for
suggesting?
discipline
Yeah.
in your worldview? And then later on, he said, are you suggesting we don't move? Should we stay where we are and not pursue our outward goals? And of
Great
course,
question.
I said, you can't not move, right? If I speak in non-dual terms, I can speak about the pure being, which never changes and is never moving and has completely formless and empty and does nothing, right? But that's the absolute aspect of it. That very same absolute, that very same beingness manifests itself as constant motion, right? Notice everything is in motion. Nothing is static. What looks like a solid object is in fact just teeming with activity. Its staticness is only an appearance. It's not the reality. Just like your body appears to be the same 1 minute to the next, but in fact, literally millions of cells have died and been reborn in that period of time. So life itself is a constant flow. So you cannot stand still, right? You are never actually stuck, except in our minds. Now, discipline is an interesting word. And the implication of it, do I have to be disciplined, is that I have to do something I don't want to do. That's, what it represents is, of course, repeatedly doing something and consistently doing something, which is a training of your whole nervous system to be able to do it automatically, right? So there's, playing piano. I mean, that's how we spoke. That's how we learned to talk. It's how we learned to get the food actually in our mouths rather than on our heads when we were little, right? Right? Was it discipline? The kids say, "God damn it, I got to eat, so I'm gonna, no, and finally, yeah, right? Nobody, if it's purely discipline, that is purely willpower, nobody can maintain that. I don't care who you are. Eventually, it will have to fall apart. But there's also something to be said if there's something that really means something to you. I mean, there were times when I was a musician, I didn't feel like practicing, but I did, right? It wasn't, you could look, oh, you're very, very disciplined. Well, no, I'm in love with the whole process, right? And so the times when it isn't as easy to do, when I'd rather be doing something else, sometimes I would just do something else, right? And other times it was like, no, this is so important to me that I'm going to do what I need to do in order to achieve it. And you could see how that can go off the rails, right? Some people get obsessed about, sports and that sort of thing, or whatever the thing happens to be. And you can become an overachiever and burn out. I mean, look at the Olympic athletes, right?
Yeah.
Most of them just are burnt to crisp. A couple of them make a lot of money through endorsements afterwards. Especially like the young gymnast girls. At puberty, it's pretty much over, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And their entire life has been that, right? And they've been cheered on and all this stuff. And what about the person who's devoted their whole life and they only come in second or fourth? They don't even make it to the podium, right? If there was love there in the whole process, well, it would have been a whole different experience. There's a beautiful article about Rudolf Nureyev, the famous ballet dancer. He was like the primo guy before Baryshnikov came. He was like, I had the privilege of seeing him dance many, many times. Yeah, he was just spectacular. He was a Russian guy, and he would actually go to his classes and then go home and work in the fields with his father because he was very poor, didn't have the money, and he danced because he loved it. And that was his key. He said it didn't matter. I loved every single minute of it, and it was very different than I've got some students and people I know who were professional, who went that route for ballet. They're a part of the trying to get into big companies. It was just cutthroat and backstabbing and all sorts of stuff, which Nureyev wrote about that as well. And he says, it was just never me. I just loved to move. I loved to dance, and that sustained him. Right. Now, he may not have become the greatest thing in the world. And if he hadn't, I don't think it would have made any difference to him.
Right.
Because he was feeding his soul. This was not an achievement that was externally driven. It was a desire that was internally generated, and he was finding ways to fulfill it, which is very different, right? I've got that can manifest itself in a goal. Okay, to do this, I guess I got to do these things, right? Well, I'll try them out and see, right? Do I really have to do it? Well, let's find out. Oh, I guess I didn't have to do that. Or, yeah, I did, and I need to do more of that. But you can see where's the drive coming from?
Yeah. You lead a question about regret, because many people who I know and have committed their lives to achieving a goal for others, thinking and maybe believing it was their own. And then at the end going, okay, I achieved it. And I feel like I wasted my life, because like the regret of time given up and wasted and put towards this, when they're unhappy, and they're still unhappy.
Yes. Well, we're taught from the time we're children to absorb and embody the desires and aspirations of the tribe, of the culture. We're not taught to on our own feelings. Your desires aren't important. As a matter of fact, you'll get punished for them. If you go to a good fundamentalist Christian or Catholic school, you'll be threatened with hell for even having the desire, right? Let alone even if you don't act on it, right? And so it's incredibly oppressive. There's no honoring of the individual, and that serves the economic interests as well, right?
Business.
Yeah, that's business, right? You're as good as the skill. You go to college and they try to convince you to get into the major that the businesses need right now. So, everybody was in computer science in the 90s, right? And they're getting out of school and they're making $100,000, and then comes the dot bomb. The whole thing happens. It all crashes, and now they're working on Fiverr, working out of their parents' house, right? Living in the basement, because at that degree there's such a glut of them now. Same thing happened to lawyers. Lawyers used to be the rich people in my town were the lawyers and the doctors. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
They were the guys, and neither one of them are that anymore, unless you're a specialist. The lawyers are a dime a dozen. There was a glut because they were pushing people into into law. It's the way the economic system works, which drives the cultures, the religious system. It's just one big mass to have you doing anything except what you actually want, right? And I have a vision for a world where everybody is actually fulfilling their own capacity. And I have a sneaking suspicion if everybody's going to do that, the world's going to function absolutely perfectly, because that's kind of what it's supposed to be.
Right.
You're being you and I'm being me. Otherwise it's like, the stomach is trying to force the lung cells to digest food.
Right.
That's not what they were for, right? And they'll do it, and they're always going to do a really piss poor job of it.
Yeah, design. So it's not to say that we're in our minds, like me, Lisa Berry, is thinking, I am meant to do this, like my purpose in life. And that's why I've also struggled with that one, because I'm like, no, your purpose in life is just to be happy, right? Because if they say,
well, that's the ultimate one.
right. Because if we go, my purpose in life, that's actually a goal. If you think about it, if they say my purpose in life is to, I don't even know, somebody's purpose, fill in the blank. But if they set that as a goal, then now they go, I don't even know what my purpose is anymore, or I'm not. It's such a fail. Again, we're back to that. If we so set it in stone, it's a moving, flowing. It's a river, like what you speak about, and it can't just be, okay, there, I'm supposed to be at that pebble in that river at that place forever with the same water over me all the time. You can't do that.
Yes. Yeah, the word purpose has really been reduced to, what function am I going to serve, right? So my purpose is to be a lawyer, it's to be an engineer, or my purpose is to help humanity, or that sort of thing. Notice it's all, even if it's incredibly noble, it's externally driven, right? What's your purpose? Whatever your purpose best expresses itself in whatever desire you have now.
Oh, say that again. Hold on. Your purpose.
In whatever desire you have right now, and whatever it is you have to do right now. Right. I remember when I was married a while ago, and we'd go, shopping. I'd be the husbandly duty, chief bag holder and line holder, right? So you go to these places where there was a long line to the checkout. Well, I would get in line and hold the bags, and she could get something, and here, hold this, and she could get something, hold it, hold this. And I was standing there in line, said, well, this is the purpose. This is why I was born. This is my purpose in life. And in that moment, that's exactly what it was.
That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So I was totally content. Oh, I'm fulfilling my life's purpose.
Right.
It's not grandiose. It's to be living. It's to be in this moment. And you harmony with life. You are life. So you can't help it. See, we think we're not fulfilling it, and you are. That's the whole joke. How can you not fulfill it if it's the purpose, divinely inspired? You're going to work. No, I'm not going to do that, God.
Right.
No, I'm not doing that. Or how am I? I'm not doing it. I'm not fulfilling my life purpose. No, we just believe we're not. Of course you are. Whatever you're doing right now is it. It's that simple. Yeah. If you get that, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can't not do it.
Right.
I don't need to set a goal. I'm doing it.
Everything you're doing
right now, it.
Fulfilling your purpose. I love that.
Yeah.
So right now, everybody wants
big dramatic thing.
Everything you're doing right now, you guys are fulfilling your purpose. It's because the desire, your desire is to be here, and you're fulfilling it. Look at that. Goal achieved.
Look at that. Goal achieved. Pat yourself on the back. Really, you should feel extremely accomplished. It's really that simple, and you can see it becomes moment by moment by moment by moment, and the specifics of the purpose may very well change, right? I didn't, once shopping was complete, I didn't have to fulfill that anymore, and that was, sipping a latte, or drive home, or whatever the next life purpose was, right? And my life purpose after we're done here is I have a sink full of dirty dishes.
and that is as important, because you're that, and I love that too, because there's even if your purpose is to be a house cleaner person, just to take care of your own stuff, that is so fulfilling. And when you finish that sink full of dishes, GP, you're going to just feel fabulous. Like
it's going to be fabulous, even though I know that within not that long period of time, they're going to begin to accumulate again, right? The other, the alternative is paper plates, which are an environmental disaster. So I can't make that choice. So, okay, I'm, zoom, I'm humming, I'm feel the water, right? I mean, you just be present. That's it, right? So nobody's important and nobody's unimportant, right?
Right. Actually, it's interesting that you said that, because sometimes people get all judgy about goals. Well, I have better goals than I think that was a cat.
I think it was, yeah, chiming in.
Chiming in, yes, they love to do that. The like, my goals are better than your goals are not, and then we have this battle of the goals, and really it's all about that. It can be. I love that you just said that. Yeah, if you're fulfilling your purpose by being here, that's your goal. Just be in the present moment. And I love I'm bringing this back to the front there about the cost of goals is you miss out on the present moment. And it's just, and I'll go through a couple of these questions here. And Truth Loops, yes, Lisa Berry here. And I go, and you spelled it right too. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And because the one thing Mark, that's what we did.
So before you skip over and deflect the compliment, she said, "Thanks for having this wonderful soul on with you."
Aw, thank you.
She thinks of all the questions I want to ask. Great dynamic.
Oh,
yes.
Well, thank you. Sometimes
I take all the credit for choosing her.
Yes, you absolutely did. There you go.
I know quality when I see it.
Aw, you guys are very sweet. I'm feeling very loved, extra loved right now. and that sometimes can be just even one of our goals, like, I'm going to be accepted, or they're going to let me into their group, but the thing is, even a goal like that, which is external because it's based on acceptance or that, if it comes to the inside, like, wow, I feel really good to be in this group, then it's you'll show up differently.
It's a completely different energy. Yeah. And when there's depth to it, you don't have to worry about discipline. There'll be some times when, oh God, I have to do it. Right. Of course. Right. But because overall there's this, emotional connection, there's just this, there's this energy there that just feels natural and right. It'll sustain you through those times when it's like, Jesus, I don't even want to get up. Right. Yes. And it will sustain you. Whereas if it's completely driven from the outside, it can't be sustained because you're not there. You're the energy of the goal, not it. You have all of the energy.
Yes. Oh, question about that. Oh, earlier you said something and it just, oh my gosh, it did validate some of my things, because I actually hated, not just didn't understand, but I hated the computer, and they would never work. They would just actually have weird failing issues. And I used to say, I swear it's my own energy. But what about if we have a job we don't like, or our parents got told, or we have to do it because supporting our family, and we literally feel nauseous or sick or get a headache every time we go? Is that our energy blocked, and is that resistance?
Well, I don't like to speak in such sweeping generalizations that's what it is. So that would be where I'd start looking, right? Because that's what it is. The mind grabs onto that stuff and it starts making charts that, okay, this symptom means this symptoms means that. Yeah. And you get the whole diagnostic chart going on. It's like, oh, that means I'm stuck in my second chakra and I'm getting a nosebleed. I mean, and people get like that instead of just go, it's just kind of cue into the energy that's going on. Okay, I don't like my job, all right, but I need my job. Right. And right now, there are not a lot of jobs out there. This is classic freedom versus safety.
Yes.
Right? And of course, you can't just go, screw it. I'm going to run up my charge cards and I'm going to go do something else. Some people do that. And if that works, which is almost never, but the few times it does, they end up trying to sell a course online to get everybody else to do that, power through your goals and that sort of stuff. And for most people, it's just disastrous. Right. That's how they get you to give them your credit card, so you can make that investment in yourself. All the tricks that are used in that. but the reality is that you have to honor the fact that you may be in a predicament that you can't immediately fix, right? But what I find is this: if you're truly honest and don't try to force anything to happen, but also don't suppress that desire, right? The desire gains energy, right? Because most of it we just give up. Because if I don't think I can attain a particular desire, it doesn't look possible. The very act of it, the desire arising, is going to create pain. It's going to create suffering, right? And I'm going to want to try to suppress that. Well, that's where I bring somebody to that point. Say, yeah, it's painful, but but be with it, right? Don't deny that aspect of you. Don't deny this very natural desire for growth, right? The answer is not to suppress that, right? And or the answer, or to try to force it to happen. That's not the answer. But if you're with it, if you're present with it, if you let it be there and honor it, even though you might not even know what it's for, it's just something, right? The more you're with it, the more the energy grows. Because remember, whatever gets your attention gets the energy. Nothing has any energy of its own. You've got it all.
Right.
And if you give attention to the desire without trying to force it to happen, just honoring it, cherishing it, feeling it, feeling the energy of life that is in the desire, right? There's pleasure in the desire itself, not just in the fulfillment. Right? That energy of, getting there is half the fun, right? Foreplay lasts a whole lot longer than the main event, right? And there's a reason why, right? And the longer it takes, the nicer it is. Sign up for tantra, right? It could take all day, right?
Right.
But that's the whole point. That's the whole point. That build of the energy, right? That's the secret in music, right? There's got to be that build and release, and there's ultimately this final climax that just goes, and then it kind of settles you back down, and you just this pure satisfaction. This is the cycle of all life. But we want to, because we're so shut down that the arising of a desire actually causes us pain. We go immediately to fantasizing about the fulfillment. We set a goal to get it, and in the meantime, we're suppressing it. Right? The energy of fulfillment is in the desire. Right?
Yes.
Your attention to it feeds it. And like anything else, it's like the desire is like a seed in the ground. You may not even know what the plant is. Right. But it's something, so you're going to take care of the ground, you're going to water it, you're going to watch it grow, and eventually it will reveal itself to you. And there'll be the forces that want to protect it and that sort of thing. And so you're the conductor in this orchestra of this incredible palette of inner energies. And your job is to bring them into harmonies of support with one another. And that's how goals actually get achieved. And you can use the name goals if you want to, but you can tell it's not the different energy. It's not the same energy at all. It's not the SMART goals.
Yes, it's not that. And this is making me laugh so much. My mother and father, even though my mother's passed, my father's still in love with her, and they were in love right to the end. And they're so cute. And my mother would always say to me, she goes, I do love the odd surprise. She goes, but I love anticipation. Tell me you're going to take me out for dinner. I get to have fun picking my earrings and my outfit and what shoes I'll wear, what perfume I'll choose, and then getting ready. And I just loved how she would describe that anticipation and building it up. And the surprise would have been just maybe even Lynn, I'm taking you out for dinner or something. Like, whoa, surprise. And then here we go.
Surprise, yeah. Well, that's fun. That's the quickie. Yeah. Yeah, that's fun too, right? But yeah, and oftentimes the actual fulfillment isn't nearly as wonderful as everything that led up to it. It's
right.
Yeah. If we were completely invested in the fulfillment, it'll be a disappointment.
Yes.
But if not, it'll just be this sweet culmination, because everything has to culminate, everything has to end. All experience has this arc, right? And it's the dramatic arc. And if you're really totally present with every last bit of it, it's all sweet from beginning to end. And this is really this is how the flow of life actually works.
I think we're getting
this,
getting them excited to just allow their goals, their desires to like just
yes,
it's the excitement of the present moment on the way there. Like, and
yes,
if you ever even get there,
yes. It really, at that point, you don't even care where you go,
right?
right? As a
Yes.
matter of fact, you're not even, you like the fact that you don't really know where it's going to go, right?
Yeah.
When I used to write a lot of music, I would oftentimes just get a feeling, literally in my body, of something to be written.
Mm.
It wasn't like some kind of concrete idea. It was just a feeling, and I would sit down to the piano and I'd just start kind of, and all of a sudden, it would start happening, right?
Right.
And I had no idea where it was going to go, right?
Mhm.
No idea whatsoever, right? But I got to know that feeling, right? Something wanted to be born, right?
Mhm.
I said, okay, I'm there.
Yeah.
And you just, if you want to paint a masterpiece, there's no guarantee you can do it, right? So
Right.
yeah. So what do? Well, you show up at the canvas with a bunch of paint.
Yeah.
That's it. You know,
Yes.
I have a desire for this masterpiece to be there. I'm showing up. Let's see if it shows up. And you cannot make that happen. You just can't. You just can't do it. If you get that, then every moment becomes this wonderful celebration, right? What's going to happen next? I don't know. This is cool, but I've got this feeling. It's juicy. I like it, right?
Yeah.
It's motivational. It's moving me, and then it's okay. Your mind will then go, is it this we're looking for? Oh, maybe this is it, and that's okay too, because okay, it's a goal. You start heading that direction, right? But everybody thinks you're supposed to arrive there. No, no, you're headed north, basically, right? There's a lot that's north.
Just go over it, and you'll see it when you get there. And that's what I do like about the goalpost being moved. And it's okay if it's when now somebody else moves it and you're in there, you've got the carrot and the sticky thing, then that's what so let's leave all the external goals and all the why you're doing things, leave that out there. Come back inside. I love the turnaround. Do the self-inquiry. Ask those questions. Is fulfilling this safe? How, isn't it safe? What carried my writing? What are you protecting me from? Ask the question. Be curious
Yes.
about that, and then allow and just to be in that. And don't pay for it. The cost, right? Don't pay for your goals. Just keep and stay in the present
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. The moment it becomes burdensome, something's off. Just go back inside, reconnect.
Yeah.
Reconnect so you have the juice. So this moment has the juice. And anybody listening here who's into the whole law of attraction thing, perfectly well that it is the moment, it is the energy of this moment that's right.
Yes.
And if I'm completely focused on the future, I'm literally embracing lack in the I don't have it now. That's my mantra, right?
Yeah.
So finding that in you, and it's there, right? Even the desire, which appears to be reaching for something outward, is itself the manifestation of the fulfillment, right? The reality of it, it comes from this place that's completely empty. It comes from shunyata, the empty space. And our first experience of some great accomplishment or goal is the desire for it,
Right.
which you do not create. You are the vehicle for it, any more than the mother creates the baby, right? Right. It is this incredible alchemical thing that happens. It's completely miraculous, right? Of which the mother's body is obviously absolutely essential to it, right? But it's not really the creator of it. It's the whole body, the female body was designed to facilitate that whole process, and it's integral to it, right? But it's this entirely huge mystical thing that we just can't. That it's just impossible to grasp. And what
Universe
do?
is
You
just
partake.
renting space.
Yeah, that's right. And it's really stunning and harmonize. A desire is no different. It is an embryonic entity, an embryonic thing that wants to come in, and you're the vehicle through which that's coming. You're mothering. That's the whole energy, the deeper meaning behind the goddess energy, that the ultimate goddess. It is this energy from which everything else issues. The goddess represents the absolute. The male, the god, represents the manifest, the form. But even in Hinduism, it is the goddess that gives birth to all the gods.
Yes.
She is the eternal. She is the formless.
We'll do a word switch from goals to God.
I'm going to achieve my gods.
I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love everybody who's shown up and just participated. And we're coming up to Inner Reconciliation on Thursday. Well, it has started, but then Thursdays, we're happening. It's class time. We're going.
It's
We're
class
going.
time. Yeah. That's kind of the end of the registration period. Yeah.
Yes.
We're still
yes.
accepting registrations up to that first class. And
Yeah.
I've had some stragglers come in later. I'm not going to turn people away, but there's a certain point at which you're just going to be missing too much.
Exactly. And then we'll have to wait till the next cycle, because there always will be. I love this is
Absolutely.
Of course,
Yes.
how
I'll put the link
you.
up there. Yeah.
Yeah, pop on over here, guys.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I cover. Everything I've been talking about of balance, finding that flow of the inner energy, and what is it that keeps that from happening, right? And removing that obstacle. And you're the obstacle. These guys don't have a problem.
That's right. It knows what it's doing.
They know exactly what they're doing if we let them, but we do get in the way. Of course, not on purpose, right? It's not the thing to blame. It's our ignorance, right? And the whole cause of the whole chain of the cause in the causal connection of suffering, right? The whole causal connection of birth and death in Buddhism starts with ignorance.
Yes.
That's it.
And we don't know what we don't know. So we don't, it's not like we were trying to be ignorant. It's not that we,
No.
It's not your fault to have ignorance. It's there.
No,
it's
we all start there.
Yeah.
And so
That's actually
our
good.
job, our job is to see that everything that you're experiencing, every bit of suffering, every struggle, all of it is the result of ignorance, the ignorance of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If it's some flaw or something to be ashamed of or something that's terrible, right? There's nothing you can do about it. But if it's ignorance, I can fix that.
Oh, right.
It's like not a big deal.
Good. It's a good thing.
I don't know it. I do. I get to know it. Right?
Okay.
I can't speak Chinese. I learn how to speak Chinese. I mean, it's not complicated.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, ignorance is not a problem. We got you.
Not a problem. Only if I cling to it because I think I know, and I'm clinging to something that I think I know, and then the ignorance becomes delusional, and that's ignorance on steroids.
Ooh,
and
that's
willful ignorance. Yeah, that's fundamentalism. That's a lot of the stuff that we find ourselves stuck with right now in the world.
Yeah.
But that willingness to go, the only thing I suffer from is that I do not know myself. I'm ignorant of my own true being. Yeah. And you couldn't get more focused than that.
That's right. Yeah. So and that is the conflict right there. So
yes.
Well, my goodness. See, this one is super full. I have to go back and listen to this and write it out because I need to read this. This is like a little book to me. I love it. But thank you, everybody. And then it's Bob, isn't it? That fun name.
Yes. That's Bob.
Bob and Roberto.
And Roberto. Yes. And we missed, let's see, do we say hello to everybody? David and Elaine?
David and Elaine. They had to pop off.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Steph.
Mark.
Also in my
Peter
contingency in Germany. And we said something about Mark. It's always about making someone else happy, having these smart goals like the boss. Yes. Remember being at work, hammered with smart goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time limited. I've never known one goal that meets those standards. Yeah. Well, because there aren't any, not really. Yeah. They're very popular things in business because, business is all goal-oriented. It's all return on ROI. Everything is like that. Business doesn't think there's any room for heart. And which is why it messes up, right? They try to turn people into little cogs in the wheel. So anyway, great. I just want to make sure.
This is such a valuable one. This episode. Yes, episode is Yeah, this was super needed. I'm so glad that we did this. Thank you, GP, for saying yes to the absurdity of goals. I was worried at first, like, oh, we like some.
My job is to say, yeah, I don't care what you come up with. I say yes, we go with it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And if anybody here has a topic, a big, broad topic, throw it at us. And then, you know what, if there's, I can connect with that energy, what's going on, and I'll see where it's going to take us. But we are here to help you guys. That's why I love going up with GP. I ask these questions and we go where we can. And by doing this on video versus on air, we're able to at least have a little bit of interaction. And of course, you can get further interaction on Satsang on Sundays, and then a super interaction, like one-on-one, happy, helpful energy and interaction in GP's classes, which is, again, coming up. You can go here. It's Inner Reconciliation. So that's where you can go, gpwalsh.com, IR, and 3 Fs, and sign up while you can, because we are starting the first class on Thursday. So 2 days, 48-hour countdown. And,
and this is our 50th show together.
That's right. 50th show, and there's no
the 10th. The 10th with the 10th is video. There were 40 on just audio, but it's our 50th show together. Almost a year. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, and then thank you guys for showing up to celebrate a little bit. There you go. Thank you, GP. There you go. And we'll be back next Tuesday. So we'll see you guys then. Thank you.
To start on the next 50. Our goal is 100.
Oh, all right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.